Well, hello there again, friends. Today is 8/3/2022, and today is the Odin Project Vlog Day 138. So it's been a hot minute since I've put up a recording. Been busy with work, has been keeping me very busy in the last week or so, and then I've had some personal health issues I've had to deal with too. But nevertheless, I've been able to sneak an hour or two here or there in on the project here, and so with that said, I've arrived at Project Battleship, which is the last project in this section of the JavaScript course. And I completed the first section, number 1, with sub bullet 1, 2, 3, and 4 completed. And boy, was it a bear! So, yeah, lots of Googling, hit a major mental roadblock. Haven't hit a major one like this in a while. So TDD is hard when you're so used to using console log and DOM, and when you're trying to not do those things, because that was the point of this exercise. Um, it makes it more difficult. It sure does, because you're kind of thinking the end in mind, like we've talked about in other videos, and kind of reverse engineering it. So I got a lot to cover here. So without further ado, let's just get started. I'm going to skip the intro because, yeah, so you can read that. Basically, it's saying we're doing TDD. Don't get overwhelmed. Take it one step at a time. Write a test, make it pass. Write a test, make it pass. And I will say that's very key because it's easy to, and that's what I did, and I actually had to rework a lot of my code, was I was taking too big a chunks at one time and trying to test them, and it wasn't going well. So take a small piece at a time. And they talk about here basically separate. We haven't got that far yet, but when you do, separate your DOM manipulation code from your app logic so that your tests will run clean and well. And so let's just get started. So it says the Battleship project. If you're not sure how to play Battleship or never played it, go ahead and hit these links and read about it and maybe play an online version just so you understand how it works. I won't do that for the brevity of this video, but that gets you started anyway. Step 1, begin your app by creating the ship factory function. Sub 1, your ships will be objects that include their length, where they've been hit, and whether or not they've been sunk. Remember, you only have to test your object public interface. Only methods or properties that are used outside of your ship object need unit tests. So that's a key there. So I messed up in the very beginning when I was first testing. I did a test for the interface that brings back the object list, which isn't necessary. So change that method around. And we'll go through the code here. It makes more sense for me to flow through the code instead of bing bop and back and forth here, bing bop and back and forth to each numeral. So I'm just going to read these and then we'll go hit the code. 3, ship should have a hit function that takes a number and then marks that position as a hit. 4 is sunk, should be a function that calculates it based on their length and whether all their positions are hit. So with that said, let's hit the code editor. Unfortunately, because of everything I got going on here, I'm not really going to be able to zoom in much. Maybe I could do one zoom method. Okay, we'll do that. Hopefully you're on a viewing screen that's bigger, like a TV or PC. If you're on a tablet or phone, I'm severely apologize. This is probably not readable, but I can't make it much bigger, otherwise this just get too cluttered. So anyway, I got my logic ship.js file over here on the left, and I skipped all the other stuff already. We've already created the GitHub project on GitHub, cloned it down locally. I already did the Babel RC file with the preset environment, so we can use ES6 modules in Jest, and I also ran the npm package init package for this project, so we could use Jest. So, and I ingest and put the script, the run command for the script in there as well. So, if all that is confusing and you're brand new, welcome to my channel. watch the last couple of videos, and I go over that in great detail. I won't do that here. So getting started here, I start off with the length object to get things started. Export. Thinking in the future here that we'll probably be exporting this to other assets, other modules and files. So I went ahead and just did that ahead of time. I declared that, and it's a constant called ship lengths, and just what it sounds like. We have carrier, battleship, cruiser, submarine, and destroyer. These are the lengths of the hits before they sink: 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, and 3, 2, respectively. And then down here is the meat and potatoes. We have constant ship, which invokes a. I'm trying to do more ES6 arrow function writing to get used to it, since you've seen me historically write it more traditionally. I'm trying to just do more ES6 modular type code. So we got constant ship here that is is in itself a function. It takes in a parameter type, and type is going to be defined as, in our examples and our tests here, as the ship type. So whether it's a carrier, battleship, cruiser, destroyer, submarine, that sort of thing. And then we come inside here. We're going to quickly change type's going to become ID. That's for down the road. I didn't want to leave it at type, so I created an ID for it. Constant length equals, so it's going to take on ship lengths with a index of type. And so the input of, so what it's going to do is it's going to become, it's going to go up here to ship lengths object here, and it's going to search for type from the input. So say it was carrier. Carrier is going to get 5, so length will become 5. And then direction equals horizontal. This is just to get things started. The game board, just to get things set. In the future, we're going to start everything as horizontal anyway. And then we have a constant get direction variable that's a function, self-invoking function, and it basically reads in direction. So basically, in this example, horizontal would become get direction if it was called. And we have another function called change direction, and it's essentially again, ES6 style. It's the if and else statement. So we're going to challenge direction is strict equal to horizontal. If that's true, then our first case will be resolved. So we're going to change the direction to vertical. The direction name to vertical. And if it's not, if this is false, meaning direction is currently vertical, we're going to do the second to the right of the colon and direction and change it to the string horizontal. And that's if you call the change direction. And then the hit content here logic is we have a hits variable, and what it does is it creates a array constructor, and it takes that length from up here. And so we're going to take the length in our example. If it was a carrier, we're going to have 5, and it's going to be .fill null. And this is a new one. I googled this one. So .fill changes an array element from start to end index to a static value and returns the modified array. So it fills everything with whatever you put in here. So I put null in here just mainly right now for the sake of the test. Didn't really know what else to put in there, so null is what it is. So it's going to fill every length of 5 in our example we've been using. So 5 will be all 5 positions will be filled with null, and then we have a hit variable, or not variable, function, excuse me, and it takes in a parameter I, which is basically index number, and so that's going to invoke the hits. So it's going to call the hits array here that we just filled, and it's going to iterate over each one, and it's going to, I'm sorry, it's not going to iterate over each one. It's going to go to the index of I. So you call hit, so you'll see this, it kind of doesn't make sense in the way I'm saying it, but you'll see in the test I is a call, so hit gets called with an I, parameter for I, which should say 1. So hits sub 1 would equal hit. So basically we're changing it from null to hit, if that makes sense. If we call hit, and then we call get hits equals is a function that calls hits right here. So we're going to fill the array, and we're going to call it with get hits, just simply calling it as is. So we're just going to fill everything with null, and then we're going to put that get that from get hits. Get hits, right? Yep, exactly. Again, this will make more sense when we go through the tests. Is sunk constant? Here's a is sunk function that goes through and this uses the hits dot every method. This determines whether all the members of an array satisfy specific tests. So this is a test here. So we're passing an h parameter, and h, if h is equal to hit, meaning that if every h is equal to hit, the string hit, then this will return a boolean. This is a boolean statement. It'll return a boolean of true to is sunk, and then is sunk will be is sunk, what it sounds like. Otherwise, if when it basically is kind of like a loop, sort of. So every axis is a loop essentially. So if there's one that is not a hit in h when it iterates through, it will be is sunk will be false, meaning that not everyone's true, and it will return a false statement. And then at the bottom here, a return statement. So I'm returning an object for ID, length, hit, get hits, is sunk, get direction, and change direction as per the instructions here. On the objects include their length, where they've been hit, and whether or not they've been sunk. So, and then we're going to export that. I decided to do this differently in the last videos when we worked on the other project exercises. You see me use the module.export method, and that works, but I found this to be much cleaner, and it works. So we're exporting default ship. So we're going to export ship out to unit test over here to be able to be used. And so we have our ship.test.js, which is in the same, if you'll see it here, it's in the, I know it's kind of a mess here, but it's in the same directory as ship.js, so we don't have to go very far to find it. So we're import ship from ship, just like I said, we're in the same directory, so we just do :/. We're going to do describes. I put describes in here because for one, it's cleaner when you're reading with your eyes, and two, it's needed if you're declaring variables like this, because if you don't put them inside a describe, it will be only be able to be used once, and so when you try to call it again, you'll get obviously a type error because it's constant variable and you can't redefine it to something else. So let's see. So I have constant ship test equals ship equals battle ship called, the function call with Battleship. So we're gonna input Battleship will be our type for these tests, these particular tests, these 4, and that's going to be contained in ship test. So ship test will be what we'll use in the test here, if that makes sense. So with that said, it'll make more sense here in a second. So we're testing for ID here, so we're going to test, and we're going to expect ship test.id to be Battleship. So basically we're going to shove in Battleship, and we expect Battleship to come back out. And as you can see down here, I've already ran it, all these pass, so you can see that it does work. So I just explained all the logic over here, so I won't re-explain it, but basically we're shoving in Battleship into type here, and we're getting Battleship back out down here on the ID. And length is the same thing. We're going to use so the thing different about this here is you ship test and you do dot is dot notation. You can use any one of these returned objects inside of it, so that's nice. So I didn't explain that. So that's how the ship test dot length and .id in them, and that kind of works. So we're doing the ship test here because we're making a constant variable that's taking on the invoked function, and then here is how we're accessing the I guess it'd be property, but really it's targeting the object that is returned. So we're going to do length and ship test dot length to be 4, and so why we're getting 4, you might be asking that because there's no input here. Well, up here we're inputting Battleship. So if you remember up here we use ship length, Battleship is 4, so that's how we're getting that invocation of the 4 there. And so when we come down here, it's going to grab that type and then call ship length. So it's be type 4, ship lengths type Battleship, ship lengths going up here, and it's grabbing the 4, and so length will be 4, and that's how that works out. And then we have direction. Expect so we're going to get the direction to be horizontal. To explain that here, so here's the content for that, or the code for that. So get direction is simply calling direction, and direction is horizontal until we call change direction. So that's how that one passes. Change direction is just same thing. So we calling change direction, which we have to already tell. So in this example, in this test, we have to tell it. We have to call change direction. Otherwise, it's gonna give us an error, because direction in this, just calling change direction, direction doesn't have a defined value, so come back undefined. So you have to do ship test.change direction, call that to get the direction, so it gets the direction to run, and then so that gets the value of horizontal, and then horizontal gets challenged here. So is direction equals to horizontal? It is, so direction will be changed to vertical. Hope that made sense. I know I'm going fast because I don't want this video to be super long, so you might have to rewatch it for further understanding. But there's the direction for vertical. And then we have a describe hit function test. So here's our hit section. Again, same thing. We're creating ship test, creating a constant ship test, but this time instead of calling what do we call before Battleship, we're going to call submarine. So this is testing kind of two things at once. It's testing the hit function, and it's testing our ability to change the ship type to make sure that that works. So we're testing for no hits here. So we're going to expect ship test.get hits to equal null null null, which is that array of nulls that is created right here on line 22. So what it's doing is it's pushing in submarine. So submarine comes in here as type. It runs the length and comes up here and gets submarine length of 3. It tells us direction is horizontal. And coming down here to hits. So I've already described how the hits work. So we call get hits. So we're calling get hits. It's looking to hits. So we're looking to hits. It's calling the array constructor to fill with nulls. And that it works out true. Null, 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 or not true, but 2 equal. And then we have one hit is the same thing, except you see how we have a invocation of ship test to hit 2. So it's going to call the hit function, and it's going to stick 2 in there, and so it's going to run hits index of 2 equals hit. So that particular index in the array will be hit, and everything else will fill null. So when it calls the hit, it's going to be null null hit, because index, if you remember, starts at 0. So we have 0, 1, and 2, and we stuck 2 in there as our our index. So we're changing index 2 to hit. So hopefully that makes sense. So null null hit on that. So we do the get hits, calls hits again, creates the array, fills it with nulls, comes through here, hits 2 is equal to hit, so it alters that changes that null to hit, and then it displays it out. Okay. Then our last section is we're going to test our isSunk functionality. So we have constant ship test equals, now we're going to use the destroyer as our type for our ship function. And we're going to do not sunk, expect is sunk to be false. So it's going to go through here, it's going to call is sunk, and it's going to go through this, every method determines whether the members of an array satisfy a specific test. So again, this is a Boolean. It's going to be false because destroyer is not sunk when we stick in destroyer, because we did not call any hits. So since we didn't call hits first, we just called is sunk, it's going to be false every time because it's looking to hits, which is not true. Makes this Boolean false because not everything's a hit, because we haven't had any hits. So I know I just said that same statement like 3 times, so hopefully that made sense. So we have a test here, hit but not sunk, so we do call here. So now we're doing a call to hit and giving it a parameter of 0. So here we're going to increment, I is going to be 0, so we're index 0 is going to be hit, and so we're going to then expect is sunk to be false. So this will come back as a Boolean false because we do have one hit, but then we have destroyer is 2, so there's 2 spots to it. One hit is, one will be null, so it's going to be false yet, because remember, for this to be true, every one of them has to be hit, and we're not there yet. We have 1 of 2, so that will be false. And then we're doing the same test, but we're doing hit 1, so we're going to go back to hit here. We're going to hit 1 in there, and so when we come through here, since we never reset the null or the array, it's going to run through here and change the second null in the array to hit, and then it's going to come down here and it's going to evaluate is sunk is every h equal hit, and it does, and so it'll evaluate to be true this time. And that is because, like I said, we do not have code in here, logic that resets that array. So since we're still in the same describe test, it just moves on. Since here we already went through, we already supplied hit with 0, and we changed it to hit via the hit function, and we hit it again, and we're going to the first array index, which would be the second one. It will go to hit, and so we'll have 2 hits, and all of them will be hit because, like I said, we looked at a moment ago, the destroyer is a 2, so both will be hit, and so this will become true, and it'll be expected to be true. So again, if I run it, maybe, there we go, kind of froze up on me there. It will come back to 9 passed. So that went pretty long. I talked really fast, so please feel free to rewatch this for further understanding, further cementing of your knowledge. And yeah, so I am done with the first one. So next time we'll be doing getting into create the game board factory and going through those steps. Don't forget to save your project to GitHub and commit your changes. So please like, share, and subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comments section what you guys think of this project so far and how you are starting your implementation of the ship factory function. So with all that said, till next time, see ya.